Welcome to One on One with Basketball Network. My name is Harry, and today we'll be talking with former NBA player, All-Star, Olympic gold medalist, accomplished businessman, and philanthropist Michael REDD. Drafted late in the second round of the 2000 NBA draft, Michael made a name for himself with the Milwaukee Bucks. He stayed loyal to the team, climbed the ranks, and became their franchise player in the 2000s. We'll be covering Michael's basketball career, today's NBA, and his successful transition into business. Let's jump right into it. Hope you enjoy the show. Michael, welcome to the show.
Harry, glad to be here, buddy. Thank you for having me.
So let's start with your college days. You spent 3 years at Ohio State. You started every game you played in, led the team in scoring for 3 years, and you appeared in the NCAA Final Four. What's your favorite memory playing for the Ohio State Buckeyes?
I think winning, Harry. We had great success when I was there. It didn't start off that way. My freshman year, we were 1-17 in the Big Ten. So it was a year of misery my freshman year, and then we turned it around my sophomore year. I think we made the biggest jump as far as win totals in a year. I think it's an NCAA record. So we went from the bottom of the Big Ten to being one of the top teams in the country a year later. And so won a Big Ten championship and had some tremendous success in school. So yeah, I enjoyed school. I enjoyed the challenge of trying to win a national championship, and we were very close to doing that.
And you actually played with Scoonie Penn. He was on the team with Ohio State during those years, and I remember him from his European days when he played in Cibona, Croatia. Me being from Croatia, I just remember him being an electrifying player, super quick, really smart. I always thought he could play in the NBA, but I guess it never happened for him.
Yeah, Scoonie was a terrific player, underrated, but was one of the top players in college basketball when he played with me at Ohio State. One of the best point guards in the country. So he should have, I believe, played in the NBA, but he was a terrific player and terrific leader as well.
Mm-hmm. And both of you guys declared for the draft in 2000, so the same year. And both of you guys were drafted kind of late, in my opinion. Was that something that kind of fueled your motivation to succeed even more throughout your career?
No question. I mean, me and Scoonie both felt like we were the top backcourt in college basketball, but I guess it didn't translate into the draft so much, being late second-round picks. So it definitely motivated both of us. It was a wake-up call for me, leaving school. And so I called my agent, called our team, and said, I'm going to make something of it, you know. And so instead of looking at the glass half empty, I looked at the glass half full and said, hey, I got drafted at least. I'm in the NBA, make the most of it, regardless of what people are saying and, you know, their lack of belief in you. Go out there and prove to yourself, more importantly, and prove to other people that you belong in the NBA.
Exactly. You played 11 seasons for the Milwaukee Bucks. You kind of distinguished yourself as one of the premier shooters in the league with a beautiful mid-range game. First off, where did the nickname Silky come from?
Well, I have to go back to the west side of Columbus, Ohio. I grew up in the hilltop area of the west side of Columbus, and a number of neighborhood guys saw my game at 10 years old or 11 years old and said, he's got a silky game. And so that name Silky kind of just stuck with me as a nickname when I was in, junior high school and then obviously in high school. So people on the west side referred me to Silky. But that was a nickname that kind of just carried throughout middle school, throughout high school, into college. And, I didn't come up with that name, but it was a name that was given to me by the neighborhood guys.
That's awesome. But just, whenever you play with a lefty, their game is just different. And by itself, it's a bit more silky than, everybody else. Your game was definitely silky, yeah.
I appreciate it, man. It was not too many left-handers in the NBA to play against, and so that was one of the challenges of playing against a left-hander because you're so used to playing against right-handed guys. So different for sure. And there's been some great left-handed players throughout the years for sure, but it was certainly an advantage for me.
Mm-hmm. When you came to the Bucks, you had a really good squad. Ray Allen, Glenn Robinson, Sam Cassell, I believe, yourself, a couple of other players. And then collectively, you guys had a good run for a couple of years. But, just from a fan perspective, to me, it seems that the team lacked some firepower during your prime years in Milwaukee. Was there ever a push to sign another, star player to the roster so that you guys can make a deeper playoff run, perhaps?
Yeah, there was always a push to get incredible talents to Milwaukee. At the time, it was more challenging because Milwaukee is not a glamorous city in a sense. It's not Miami or LA or New York or any of those teams. So it was always a challenge for us to get superstar players to come play in Milwaukee. And, I would talk to certain guys and they would say, "We love you, Mike, but we don't love the city."
Mm-hmm.
And
it's
so
cold.
that was one of the challenges. It's cold, exactly. And that's nothing against the city of Milwaukee, but it's just cold. It's a cold environment, right, in this time of the year. And guys want to be in warm weather cities. And so I understood that. So, but I had that opportunity to leave as a free agent at one point, but I wanted to stay in Milwaukee because I was committed to the city and the organization. I'm a loyalist. And so the weather didn't detract me from staying. But I wanted to build. I wanted to build something great in Milwaukee and tried my heart out to do so.
Just wanted to briefly touch upon your NBA record for most threes in a quarter. It was really remarkable when you scored 8 threes in a quarter. It was against the Houston Rockets team back in 2002, I believe. Later, the record was broken by Klay Thompson. I think he scored 9, but nevertheless, it's a phenomenal record. Do you remember that game, and what was that feeling like?
Yeah, if I can have anybody break it, it'd be Klay. Klay and Steph are phenomenal. I saw them maybe a year or two later after he broke the record, and in Milwaukee, and we hugged each other, and they paid homage. But I love them, and I love their ability to shoot the basketball. I do remember that night. That night was incredible. It happened by accident, in my eyes. But when you prepare and work hard, things begin to happen for you, right? So for me, I only played in that game a few minutes in the first quarter. I made 1 3 and went back to the bench and then play again to the fourth quarter. So it was 9 threes altogether in that game, but 8 of them came in the fourth quarter. And so I just hit my first one and first 2, and then the coach kept calling my number, and my teammates kept finding me and looking for me, which was unique because I came into the NBA not as a shooter but as a scorer. And even my whole career, I was a scorer that could shoot the basketball. I had to work at it. And so people at home from college were like, "You got the NBA record for threes? You're a slasher." Yeah. You're a scorer, you're a slasher, you're get to the rim guy, mid-range, to your point earlier. But so I surprised myself that night. But I'll never forget it. It was an incredible feeling, especially not having played for 2 other quarters. I played in the first quarter and then played again to the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm. And coming to the NBA, what was kind of where did your game have to evolve the most? Was it shooting? Because now that you mentioned you were a slasher in college, and was it perhaps Ray Allen, somebody who mentored you in that direction?
Yeah, well, you mentioned some of the guys on that team: Sam Cassell, Glenn Robinson, Big Dog Robinson. You had Tim Thomas at that time. You had Lindsey Hunter, who was a great shooter himself. Ray Allen. So the team was full of great shooters. And so in order for me to make the team, I had to adapt my game. Yeah. And so I'll never forget George Karl saying to me, "Are you a shooting guard?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Shooting guards shoot. They can shoot." So at that time, you had pronounced positions. You had point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, and center. And now today, you don't have that at all.
Totally
So
positionless.
this is basketball. Yeah. So, but it was an interesting time, and I had to adapt my game to the culture of the team, which was a perimeter-oriented team.
Mhm. And now that you mentioned threes and shooting so much, you attempted, I think your career average for 3-point attempts is somewhere around 4 to 5, maybe like 4.4 per game, 3-point
Wow.
attempts. Compared to, for example, Curry, who's shooting 11 and a half this season, or
Yeah.
I think James Harden had like 13 attempts 2 years ago. How many
Hmm.
points would you average in today's game?
Oh, I think my high was close to 27 when I did play. Um, I think it would be more because I would
Mhm.
shoot more threes
Mhm.
for sure. To your point, I don't know how much more, but I think it would be more. Um, the game is so different now. I was talking to Steve Kerr about this a couple of years ago, and he said you would have thrived in this culture of 3-point shooting. Um, and when I played, it was just okay. If you miss one, you may have another chance to shoot another one. If you miss the second one, no more threes for the night. You're
Yeah.
right. So there was more accountability on shot selection. But nowadays, the range is unlimited for these guys shooting so deep and so far. And now you got analytics.
Mhm.
Where you can't shoot a mid-range shot. It's either a layup or a three mentality now. So shooting an extra 5 to 6 more threes in a game.
Mhm.
Uh, I don't know where my scoring average would have been.
Mhm.
I think it would have been more for sure. I appreciate analytics. I do. The game of basketball is intuitive. So if I have you beat at a certain position, no matter where it is on the court, then I must take advantage of the situation more so than thinking like I got you beat here for this mid-range shot, but I got to step back 3 more steps to get a 3-point shot compared to a two. And so that dynamic of intuition,
Mhm.
I hope never gets lost within the game.
We'll see. We'll see. Um, After the 2004 and 5 season, you signed a new contract with the Bucks, and you chose Milwaukee. You could have went to Cleveland, I believe, and played with LeBron James, and you chose once again to be loyal to Milwaukee. Can you talk more about that decision?
Yeah, it was a decision based off just basically staying with an organization that believed in me from the beginning of my career, and the ability to be a late second round pick to being the franchise guy. The chances of that happening are slim to none, and
Mhm.
so I took on the responsibility of being, our main guy in the organization, and wanted to really embrace that. So that was the major reason why I stayed. Obviously, there was a disparity there,
Right.
but the ability to play against you rather than join you was more prevalent, right? I wanted to beat my competition,
Makes sense.
beat the best rather than join the best. Makes sense. And it was a different climate, different mentality back then
Mhm.
compared to now. Again, so guys didn't work out together in all season. It was a different mindset. So that's the mindset I had.
Mhm. Makes total sense. And well, I guess towards the end of your well, actually, not the end of your career, but kind of at the peak of your prime, to be more precise. You tore your ACL for the first time,
Yeah.
and that's kind of when injuries started plaguing your career. How hard was it, coming back from one, tearing it another time? Can you talk more about the perseverance and just the adversity that you faced during those years?
Yeah, it was a challenging time because in 2008 you're on the podium winning an Olympic gold medal,
Hmm.
which is the highlight of your career, the peak of your career.
Hmm.
And then 5 months later you tear your knee, and it was a devastating injury. Um, and then it happened again a year later,
Hmm.
2010. That basically took my career on a different journey from that point on. But no regrets in that. Things happen for a reason. I'm a big believer in faith. And so God had me on a different trail in life that has led me to where I am now. But uh, I had an incredible stretch. And it's just unfortunate that the injury kind of just shifted everything when it comes to my ability to play the game at a high level.
Yeah. I myself tore an ACL, so I kind of I can at least understand the recovery and everything, which was really, really hard and long for me. Uh,
Yeah,
Meanwhile, some guys come back much faster. For example, KD came back from an Achilles, and he's playing.
sure,
He's the best basketball. On the other hand, Clay got injured once. He got injured again, and
sure.
I'm hoping he'll come back as good as ever. But it's just devastating to see players at their peak, getting injured like that. But it is what it
It's
is,
part
I
of the
guess.
game.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's part of the game. It's happened to everybody except maybe LeBron to that level, or Michael Jordan, although he broke his foot. He's pretty much was injury free his whole career. So it's very rare that a player goes without having a surgery or having a major injury in their career. So
Mm-hmm.
Kobe, Achilles, God rest his soul. So people, we all get hurt, and it's just a matter of when,
Mm-hmm.
basically.
You mentioned the Olympics and the gold medal in 2008 in China. What was it like representing your country?
It was amazing. It was an amazing experience. It was the highlight of my athletic career by far. Um, to make the Olympics, for one, on the team was surreal, and then to win a gold medal on top of that was like, wow, what a surreal experience, and to do it with the best players in the world, playing against the best players in the world. So it was an incredible experience. I think for me, the journey made the moment all the more greater. So there was a 3-year process with our team. We started in 2005, 2006, being together in the off season, training together. And Jerry Colangelo and Mike Krzyzewski wanted to have a cohesion and chemistry rather than just coming together in 2008 for the first time and playing together. We knew we couldn't just compete with the world with just coming together as an all-star team. We had to have time together, cohesion, chemistry. So we spent 3 years before we even got to the gold medal game together. Wow. And I think that propelled us into victory. There was a love for each other. There was a brotherhood. There was a trust that we all developed amongst each other, and we knew each other's games. And so the 3-year process, the training camps, the dinners, the lunches, the time together made that moment winning the gold medal what it was. And I'll never, ever forget that moment. And we have a bond. All of us have a bond to this day.
You guys beat the golden generation of Spain, which is an amazing team. And I mean, they were playing some great basketball for the last 20 years, I guess. And Kobe had one of the best clutch performances in that finals game. He just went off. Rest in peace, Kobe. Can you perhaps share an anecdote from those years about the team? You said there were so many talented talented players on the team, and you guys shared the bond. Maybe there were some special moments you could share.
There were so many, but we did everything together. I think that was the thread that bonded us together. We played golf together. There were times when we played golf in China together. There were times where we had dinner together all the time. Celebrated birthdays together. Our families were together, and so we had the right culture that led us to having that moment to win the gold medal. And so, there's a lot of stories. Most people have heard about the pop-up shop, the pop-up basketball game that me and Kobe had, where we competed in Olympic Village together. And we all had a respect for each other's games, which made us close as well. We all knew our abilities, and we had played against each other so many times. It was like a breath of fresh air to actually be together and play together. And so it was a fun time. Competitive for sure. Practices were ultra competitive. You got the best of the best playing against each other every day, and it was fun. We all got better from it. We all learned from each other. And so it was the ultimate experience for me, especially compared to my NBA team, which we didn't have the level of success that we wanted to have. But it was great for me to experience that level of championship experience.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing. And hopefully, the Tokyo Olympics are going to take place so that we can just enjoy that kind of basketball again and sports in general with fans in arenas.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a unique time over this last year and a half or so, or last year. Um, but yeah, hopefully we can have the Olympics this summer. It'd be great. And I felt bad for all the athletes who prepared um, for Tokyo last year and it didn't happen. So I know that feeling of preparation and grit and grind and blood and sacrifice to get to that point. It doesn't happen.
Hmm.
So hopefully we can have the games this year.
Let's talk about today's NBA and more specifically, let's talk about your Bucks. Do you think Giannis, Kris, and the crew can make a run for the finals this year?
I do. I do. They have all the ingredients. They have experience. They have the talent. I believe they have the coaching. They have the organization. The ownership group that has come in over the last 6-7 years, they've been terrific, and they've provided the organization every opportunity to be successful. So they're on a little skid right now, but that happens throughout the season. Drew Holiday was an incredible addition to the team. Although I enjoy EB, Eric Bledsoe, his contributions. And then you got Bobby Portis, who's come along this year and played extremely well. And the young guys, DiVincenzo, Pat Connaughton, they're developing and getting better. So they have a deep team. They just got to continue to do what they've been doing. They defend well. They certainly can shoot the three well. I see them as a top team in the East again.
Mm-hmm. But how would you explain, the playoff runs that they had for the last couple of years, having amazing regular seasons, and then all of a sudden, I feel like they kind of block in a sense,
Yeah. I think continue to get better. Player development is key, right? You get to those experiences, you get to those moments, and you have to fail, right? You have to fail sometimes to learn from them, to get better from those experiences. So when you come back, you're stronger for it, right? So they've had incredible success the last couple of seasons. Now they're at a point where they've been through the fire. They know what it takes now to get over the hump. And so, but all the while, Kris has gotten better over the years. Giannis continues to get better and must continue to get better. And obviously having Drew Holiday is a tremendous get for them. So I think they have all the components. The regular season is condensed because of COVID. So this is the last year has been like a really tough year. In fact, they had momentum last year going into COVID. And COVID hit and things got changed and shifted in the bubble experience. And so anything could happen in the bubble, which we saw.
Mm-hmm.
So they're right there. They're right there. And I do expect them to win a championship soon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're a hell of a team. Just, wish them all the best this year, and really want to see Giannis do a big playoff push.
Yeah. But I think for him, go ahead.
Kris, I think I saw a couple of times you mentioned Kris has a similar game to yourself. Did he ever call on you when he came to Milwaukee? Because he took your jersey.
Yeah, no, it was a great story. When he came to Milwaukee, he was in the training room. And actually, it was the night of my retirement ceremony in Milwaukee. Mm-hmm. And I said, you know who wore that jersey, right? He's in the training room, laying down in the training room. He's a young player at this time. And I said, do you know who wore that jersey, right? He said, yes, sir, I do. I know who wore that jersey. And I said, make sure you represent, Mm-hmm. And I think he's done an incredible job with his game. Certainly, I think underrated what he brings to the table, but has gotten better every year. He's like a 90, 50, 40 guy this year. He's playing great basketball. So I'm so proud of him. And so we've had conversations over the years. And I'm always here for him, and I'm always rooting for him. And he's had an incredible career. So I'm proud of him. So if anybody would have worn a jersey, I'm proud that he's worn the jersey.
That's great. Other than Milwaukee, who would you highlight as the contenders for this year?
The Sixers, for sure. They got an upgrade in coaching. I love Brett Brown. Doc Rivers has had an incredible career coaching, so he's been a great addition. Joel Embiid is playing at MVP level. Ben Simmons is playing at a high level. So you got to look at Philly and what they're doing. You have to certainly look at the Nets, what Brooklyn is doing, and they're being strategic in adding roster spots. So glad KD is back and he's healthy this year. Is so good for the NBA. Brooklyn definitely is certainly a contender. And then you look at the West. Obviously, the Lakers with LeBron and a healthy AD being obviously favorites, one of the favorites at least. Clippers are playing extremely well with Ty Lue at the helm this year. They're just playing more hungrier, and they're deeper this year. Speaking of the Clippers, and then you can't sleep on Phoenix and Denver, and obviously Utah.
Yeah,
So,
I was about to say Utah.
Yeah, Utah's playing extremely well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, extremely well. My little brother plays for Utah, Mike Conley. So really proud of his career and what he's been able to add to that team. But the West is deep. There's about legit 4 or 5 teams in the West that could contend for the Western Conference Championship. And then in the East, you got legit 3 or 4 teams.
Whose game do you appreciate the most in terms of players? Who do you love to watch?
Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant. I've always been a Kevin Durant fan, even when he was a young fella and I was playing against him. Just to be at that height at 7 foot, to do all the things that he can do is just really special. So gifted in every facet. And he's just a joy to watch because he plays as if he's a guard at 7 foot with guard skills. Defensively, he's gotten better over the last 5-6 years. We'd love to see him on the all defensive squad, but he's the total package.
Hopefully they stay healthy. It's going to be a crazy postseason this year.
It will be. It will be. I don't think the Nets are done yet with moves either. I think they're going to make a major move here pretty soon to kind of bolster that roster.
And who's your pick for the championship?
Well, the Bucks. I think the Bucks are right there.
Mm-hmm.
I think if they can get past Boston, Philly, and Brooklyn, those are the main competitors right now. I see. So tall order to ask, but I think they're more than capable of doing it.
The NBA has never been as. I really don't remember the NBA being this competitive. Like so many teams that are contenders, like you mentioned. Philly, the Bucks, Brooklyn, Utah, Lakers. It's going to be really nice to watch basketball in the postseason.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go to business. You transferred into business very seamlessly, in a way, and you founded 22 Ventures, which is now invested 22 Ventures, which is now invested into more than 85 tech and media companies in the last 7 years, I guess. When did you first start investing? Was it immediately after your NBA run, or was it something that you kind of played around with during your career as well?
So I was involved with Third Wave Digital, which had invested in over 85 companies, which is a Silicon Beach venture fund. And then I just launched 22 a year and a half ago. But for me, it's the narrative has always been how much the players make, right? And I've always thought, like, who's paying the guys? Who's paying the players? What do they do? And begin to discover that they're involved in hedge funds and venture capital and private equity. And okay, that's where I want to, spend my days after playing ball. And so for me, I've always been intrigued with entrepreneurs because their journey is parallel to mine, in a sense where I took a jump and took a bet on myself, leaving college to go play in the NBA. And so I found great joy in working with entrepreneurs over the years, founders, CEOs. And also I love technology and want to always be on the cutting edge of what's next. The one thing about technology is that it certainly has enhanced athletes' careers. I'm a little jealous now seeing how the technology has helped Kevin Durant with his Achilles, because that used to be a death sentence. If you tore your Achilles, your career was over, or you tore your ACL, your career was just about over. Now with technology out there, you can certainly recover faster and more efficiently and continue to have a longer career. You look at LeBron, playing at the level he's playing 18 years later. But I wanted to get into that whole space and begin to also, I think, too, trailblaze a little bit in the sense where there's not a lot of minorities in those spaces, right? So being a minority in those spaces was something that I kind of want to do. So yeah, there's a number of reasons why I got into that whole space, but I wanted to be able to help people at the end of the day. My core value in life is helping people, whether I entertained you when I played basketball or now I'm mentoring you from a business standpoint.
So you said you founded 22 Ventures last year. I got a different impression from the website because I thought it said 85 investments through 22 Ventures, like all together. I guess I read something wrong or something.
You're fine.
Yeah.
I personally did. I personally invested in companies, but not 22.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, like, what do you look at when you're investing into a company? What would be kind of the three most important things that you look at when wanting to invest into a company?
Well, first and foremost, I look at the team, the founder. That's very important. So what I love to do is I love to make sure that a founder or a team has holistic wellness attached to their journey. I believe the healthier mentally, physically a founder is, the healthier the product is. And so I really focus on teams, their experience, their cohesion, their chemistry. And then obviously you look at the business model and you look at the product market fit, the space, the uniqueness of what they're trying to do. So there's a number of things I look at, but the primary thing I look at is the team and focus on that dynamic.
So you invest in
people.
So you like to invest in people more than companies, yeah?
100%. Our mantra at 22 is that we love to invest in people to grow companies. And so that means a lot to me, to see the investment into people, their perspective, their families, their rest, which I believe produces quality companies and quality products.
I would have to agree. You initially mentioned that you are really interested in technology and tech. Is technology like the primary sector you guys are focused on, or are you investing in other industries as well?
Yeah, 22 is agnostic to space. I'm involved with another venture fund. It's called the Advantage Sports Tech Fund. I'm sure you've seen that. And so they're really looking at fan engagement, player recovery, data, AI, all those different verticals. But 22 itself is more about the people. We want to develop a pipeline of incredible, talented people and give them access and opportunity to opportunities in business. So I love acquiring a business that has been around for a while, but has a great customer base. They have a solid EBITDA, they have solid infrastructure, but needs to be dragged into the 21st century with technology, layered with technology, and then begin to put talented, well-equipped people who haven't had the opportunity, minorities in particular, women, minorities in position of power as a CEO within the company. So that's what we're doing with 22.
I really like the vision. What was perhaps the best investment you made so far with 22 Ventures?
Best investment. I would say, wow. I think the fund out. I think the two. I think I'll say this. There's two funds. Third Wave Digital, which is out in California, and then also making an investment into the Advantage Sports Tech Fund. Now that fund is ran by the Adidas family, and they partner with our crowd. And so that's been an incredible fund to be a part of, to see what they're doing in the whole sports tech sector. And then it was a digital media platform fund And so those have been really good bets. And then obviously there's a bet that we made within 22 that I'm excited about. So the beautiful thing about it is you're going to have wins, you're going to have losses, but can you learn from each experience, right? That can help you for the next experience. So it's like basketball, right? You may have a 2-game losing streak. How do you bounce back from that? Or you may have a 4-game winning streak. How do you learn how to get better? So I use a lot of the basketball analogies that I've experienced to business and to help founders and leaders.
Okay, maybe kind of a delicate question, but do you consider yourself a better investor or basketball player?
Oh, hopefully be a better investor. That's the goal. That's the goal. So that's the goal, at least. I want to get to, but had an incredible career for sure. But hopefully my investment career is better than my basketball career.
Something that I firmly believe is that if you are, elite, excellent in anything that you do, for example, sports, something you began with, and, in whatever space you kind of transfer to, you have the same mentality, you have the same mindset, and you're just going to be excellent in the long run in that space as well. You just have to take the time and just keep doing what you're doing. So that's something that Kobe also preached, and something I firmly believe.
I will say to that, just to add to that, what made my career what it was in basketball, it was humility, right? Like being around the best. I learned so much from a Ray Allen. I learned so much from an Allen Houston. I learned so much from a Reggie Miller, and being around these guys and even my own teammates in Milwaukee, learning from them daily, right? So I got into the NBA around the best players every day, and I learned and soaked so much information from them. I use that characteristic even in business, transitioning into what I'm doing. I surrounded myself with the best minds around the world, and I'm still learning so much. And I think that is a key component to greatness, or achieving greatness, is the ability to be humble and the ability to listen and be coachable, and to surround yourself with smart people that will hopefully help mitigate any risk that you face down the road.
And I actually read one of your recent blog posts on your website, and something that I really agreed with was when you said that your, I believe, weekdays or something like that, your the first day of your week starts with you meeting with your team, and then you kind of talking to them about all the good things and the bad things that you've done for the past week, and maybe how kind of you had a change of thought in a process or something that that you've done. So it's really important for founders to kind of admit that they have been wrong sometimes, and adapt a new methodology, a new process, and in doing so, the people are going to believe in them more. So something that I really agree with as well.
I appreciate you saying that. I love delegation. And I love hearing the responses from our team members on, my direction, vision. And so I use the word autonomy more than empowerment. With empowerment, there's still a level of control that I have, but I love autonomy because I love giving our leaders and the people that work with me autonomy, which gives them a level of freedom to do things the way they see it, more so than the way I see it. And so I've always tried to lead by that, even with our team, basketball team. I played and I led our franchise. It was like, let him be who he is, and let him be who he is. And so those are the things that I've tried to foundationally incorporate with my leadership skills in business.
That's really smart, because you don't have enough time to dwell in micromanagement and that sort of thing. Doesn't make sense at all. And too many founders are just stuck in that exactly that. So
yeah, I hire people to tell me what to do, Harry, basically.
Okay. Let's talk briefly about your podcast, Betting on Yourself, where you featured many awesome guests from the basketball world as well. Ray Allen, Spencer Dinwiddie, Mike Conley. What has betting on yourself meant to you in your life?
Yeah, I learned early on that I was going to be the secret to my success. In other words, being drafted late in the second round or even in high school, no one was going to run the suicides with me. No one was going to get the key to open up the gym, at midnight and shoot ball with me. I was in control of that. Obviously, I'm a man of faith, and faith has certainly carried me throughout my whole life. Obviously, my career as well. But I also knew that execution is everything, right? And so I had to be in the gym. I had to have a certain level of focus and vision of what I wanted to become. That literally drove me to the level of work ethic that I needed to be achieving of the vision. So, for me, betting on yourself is realizing that no one's coming to save you at the end of the day. And then when you realize that, you can realize, hey, I can save myself by putting in the work, by belief, by action of actually putting in the work and preparation to become what I want to become. So there is no greater bet than betting on yourself in life, whether it be in business or in athletics or whatever space and endeavor you want to get into. That's what it means to me.
I don't like betting, but if there's one thing I would bet on, that it better be myself.
100%, 100%. So
for everyone listening, a big shout out to Betting on Yourself podcast. Go check it out. Available on all platforms.
Thank you,
Michael. That's pretty much it. We like to end our interviews with a quick series of quick fire questions. So just
okay.
really short questions.
Okay.
Who is the best shooter of all time?
Oh man, Steph Curry.
You're gonna take him over Ray Allen?
I will. I mean, I love Ray. Ray's form is the best form ever. But Steph is just another level. He's another iteration of what Ray and Reggie were.
Best international player of all time.
Well, I played with Tony Kukoc, who was a great teammate of mine. Most would say Dirk Nowitzki. Some would say Manu Ginobili. There's a ton of great players out there. I would stick with, in modern times, those two.
That's a good pick. You got Giannis.
I think Luka. Yeah, Luka's
Giannis
on his way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Luka and Giannis aren't there. You could say Giannis, but Dirk was special, and so is Manu. Just ultra skilled, and they're actually the antithesis of Giannis, because Giannis is ultra athletic and freakish of an athlete. But Dirk didn't have the athleticism that Giannis had, but he has a skill level that is super special, and so did Manu. So there's a debate there.
Okay, but I like the picks. Who is the best player you played with?
The best player I ever played with, I would say at his time, Kobe. At his time, Kobe. LeBron was 23. He was young. He was LeBron, but he was not who he is now. Yeah. At the time, I would have to say Kobe.
Your favorite teammate?
Favorite teammate? Great question. Ray is certainly one of my favorites. Ray Allen. He mentored me. Had a huge influence on my life. Off the court, professionalism, work ethic, preparation. Stayed the night at his house all the time with him and his wife, and they took care of me as a rookie and as a second-year player. Desmond Mason was a great teammate of mine. Luke Rittenauer was a great teammate of mine as well, but there's a lot of them.
So who wins in a golf match between you and Ray?
Right now, probably me.
Really?
Probably me.
I read somewhere that he's like one of the best golfers in basketball.
He is. I think he's like, I don't know, maybe a 2 or a 1 or scratch. I'm at a 3 right now in my game. So I like my chances the way I'm playing right now.
All-time starting 5. This is a harder one.
Oh, wow.
Maybe.
Yeah, very hard. Gosh. Top of my head, Michael Jordan. You have to go, Magic Michael. LeBron. You got to go.
Really
Shaq,
hard. Yeah.
Shaq, and then you go with Tim Duncan.
Can't miss with that. Yeah. Amazing team. Amazing team.
I'm still thinking position from a position, but
Hey,
you got Larry Bird. Yeah, I mean,
Bill played the 5, but you can put him at a 4 spot instead of Tim, maybe.
You can.
Will
Right.
versus Shaq, perhaps. Kareem.
Right.
I mean, it's hard. Yeah.
Really I mean, KD, LeBron, you go. I mean, so, Oscar Robertson.
Oh yeah. Who is the GOAT in your opinion?
Michael. Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just for a number of reasons. Just for a number of reasons. I think, and obviously modern times, the younger generation is going to say LeBron probably because they've seen LeBron or Kobe. Mm-hmm. They were able to see both of those players. But the influence that Mike had on them and all of us, we're almost disciples of him, and so his greatness is
unmatched.
To me is unmatched. Yeah.
All right, Michael. That's about it. Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. I know you're a busy family man, businessman. So thank you once again.
Harry, thank you very much for having me, man. Appreciate it.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Yes, sir. Thank you, buddy. All right.